Yo yo, I am the boy Foxhound from the down south and eastward part of the nation of the America. Foxhound FL here from Florida, and I am brought here with you, the boy yoj99. How are you feeling, buddy?
Hey, Fox, I'm pretty good, man. How you been?
Chilling. Just got off work, and my AC is fixed, so I'm not sitting in 89-degree heat anymore. And
We're not burning in the summer anymore.
I'm really happy about that.
Oh yeah, I can definitely imagine.
Do me a favor. Your mic's a little bit hot.
What do you mean?
Maybe just pull off of the mic just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, I think.
Cool.
Okay. So, do me a favor and introduce yourself to the people. A lot of people know you from our brackets, but they don't, me personally, I have trouble remember people's names, and maybe if I record it in one of these interviews and get it recorded for posterity, I'll actually remember it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Yusuf, or rather well known as yoj99. I currently reside in State College, PA, but originally I am from Saudi Arabia, so I am from the Middle Eastern regions. Currently, I'm claimed by the Philly people and the Iron Fist Philly people, so that is the scene that I do represent as well.
How long have you been there in the Philly area?
So mainly in Pennsylvania.
In the Pennsylvania area. Sorry,
yeah.
I know that's technically not Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean it is, but yeah. So I've been here mainly for university reasons. I'm basically a college student. So I've been here for the past like 3 to almost 4 years now. I've been mainly, trying to focus on my studies. But in the same time, I've also been, as far as beyond my studies, I've heavily committed most of my time into Tekken, because that's the thing that I'm currently the most passionate about as well at the moment. Speaking of Tekken, actually, so people who don't know, my main character is Julia Chang, and the reason why I do play her is because in terms of her gameplay, like I really enjoy her neutral options, her her amazing mid, her amazing lows, amazing neutral tools. Her combos are very, very, very fun too. They are a bit challenging to do, but I kind of like going for those crazy hype moment combos.
Yeah, there are things like you'll do the instant full forward threes after some of these things,
after like,
and I'm just like, bro, that's such a tight. Like, I'll be commentating, like hosting the bracket, and I'll be like, whoa, that was actually really hard, and nobody's popping off right now. Why?
Yeah. I like to go through those kind of things. I just find them very, very, very satisfying, and then they're very, very fun to go for as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know how execution heavy Julia can be. Honestly, yeah, that was my second question, is to ask you why you play Julia, but that's not really a question that a lot of people are. It's not like if I ask somebody like, why do you play Panda? Why do you play Eddie or something like that? It's like, maybe they have something where, why you play Julia? It's like, well, winning is fun, right?
I mean, winning is always a part of the plan, but in the same time, like her combos, like the moment I tried the character out and I saw how fun her combos can be, I'm like, okay, this is definitely my character from now on. This is like, I am maining her. Like I used to, like, back in the day, like back before I used to like play Tekken competitively, I used to be always like a Mishima main, mainly with Devil Jin. And going into Tekken 7, like I used to be like a big fan of JDCR, so I used to like main Dragunov actually for the first season. But the moment Julia,
that's why you've been playing Dragunov so much recently.
Yeah, I'm trying to like go back in my footsteps and all that stuff. But for the most part, like we're actually around like the season 1, season 2 time, I'm still trying to find like like a solid character for me. So I didn't drop a, but more so I jumped from Dragunov at first, because Geese just came out at that point. So I switched from Dragunov to Geese because I thought he was very, very sick. But as time went on, the more I learned a bit of the game, some of my teachers helped me realize that the character for Geese, although he's very, very strong, he has a lot of anti-Tekken things that most Tekken characters can't really do. So they kind of helped me like try to learn the game from a more fundamental perspective. So I was trying to look for another character at that time, and I
Even though
was
you had
jumping from
started
character
with
to character.
Dragonov, what?
Yeah, yeah. Even
So
though I
are
started
you
with
saying
Dragonov, yeah.
that when you were playing Geese, you were further down in your knowledge goals
Yeah,
at that
because I
point, and
was.
then
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's because I'm still, I'm actually getting ahead of myself right now. The first game I actually learned properly was Second Seven. Back then I used to just be like a casual. I used to always just mash buttons and whatnot. But Second Seven was the first game I actually tried to actually learn. And yeah, so which is why I was kind of like jumping in between a lot of characters between the times. But yeah, during Heroes in Season 2, I definitely like picked up the character. I was like, okay, this is definitely the way for me now. This is the character that's giving me the most fun right now. I definitely want to stick with him.
So when did you pick up Julia when she dropped?
Yeah. So basically, by the time the time the second World Tour finals were dropping and whatnot, they announced Marduk, they announced Armor King. Everyone was hyped for those two characters. So was I. Then the moment I saw Julia, I was like, "Dude, this is a streamer. What the hell? Why is this character a streamer in this game?" I'm like, okay, cool. The moment I try her out, I'm like, wait, she got elbows all day? What the hell is this?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I watched that elbow go under the jab at Combo Breaker,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so, and it was just so clean too. It was like, say what you want, people, that hurt box is mad clear. She is way down under there, and I was like, wow,
she gets down low very well.
you get low.
She goes
get
low. But yeah, that was kind of why like the character kind of just sparked me as well.
So what about the cut? You said you're like, oh man, her combos look sick. I feel like I know it's not always just like elbow into elbow into elbow into elbow into screw into put them up there on the wall like it had been from tag 1 all the way until like Tekken 5 or even maybe 6.
Tekken 5 was probably the worst for her because that's all she had for her for her combos.
Yeah, but it meant that there was a low I'm not gonna say a low skill gap, but a low barrier to entry for the combo for the character, right? Because it meant that people could be like just picking up the character and have fun with the character from jump. Like I can pick up Julia and twin pistons and go, all right, I'm pretty sure I can get this dude to a wall if I just
definitely
careful about it.
Like Julia is like, she's not like overall I would say it's a hard character. Probably her hardest trait is her consistency and how consistent you're able to do these set combos throughout most of your matches. That would be probably the biggest challenging factor for her, I would say.
You don't feel like, okay, so there was a video not too long ago posted by the boy FeedyX, and he had like an anti-Julia video, right? And it mentioned how risky that her lows can be.
Yes.
Do you feel like it's hard to open up people with Julia? Like, I mean, I know that timing is really important when you're dealing with having, the variable timing with 4-forward-1 or something like that. Yeah. But what do you feel about about the ability to open people up with Julia?
So Julia's game plan is pretty straightforward. It's mainly revolving around her mind games regarding the elbow. Will I finish the string for the high extension, or will I just move around? Because I have -2 after the elbow. I can I may like move around afterwards. But the issue is with her lows is that although they're very quick and very impressive, her go-to low pokes like they do very little damage. So her down 3 only does like 10 damage. Her down back 4 does like 11 damage. So when it comes to like having like a good opening up low, it can be a little bit on the riskier side for her because her most threatening low is definitely the bow and arrow. Like that's definitely the low that most people are definitely the most worried about, and the second one after that would definitely be like war drums. But that's more of a special case because that requires spacing. But in the neutral in your face, the most threatening low people will be the bow and arrow. And obviously, as we know, that is like -14 for the first hit, and the whole thing's launch punishable. So having those kind of lows to work with just to open someone's up, open up someone's very solid defense can be a big risk for the most part.
Yeah.
So in that regard, she is a risky character. She can't just, go in and then be like, "Hey, the mouth, elbow, go bird." Which she can. But if you're playing very very good solid defense, like she can like get into the straight of end up killing herself at times, and a lot of people can take very very big advantages of that for the most part.
Do you end up having your elbows sidestepped a lot? I wonder that about Julia players because to me it feels like I never can. But a lot of times when people try to tell me how difficult it is for example, for them to get out of Yoshi's sword sweep, and I'm like, bro, if you do a decent backdash, you will get out of sword sweep every time. I'm telling you, and they don't believe me. So I'm thinking maybe you have some insight. Like, do you feel like 441 gets stepped often, or do you feel like it's not really a thing for you?
So the thing with elbow and stepping that move is it's all timing based. So the elbow itself, it comes out the fastest at 12 frames, and obviously when it's most late, it comes out at 14 at the latest. And the reason why they have all these distinguishing factors is that the more you delay the actual full forward input, the more of a dash she has, and the more the more forward she dashes, the more tracking will have. So at the earliest frame, basically the moment you do the elbow instantly, a lot of people can sidewalk it to the right, and it's in those instances where she needs to do those very very quick elbows is where most people will step it. But for the most part, in the neutral, most Julia players will opt into just doing the delayed version, which will have very very good tracking. It'll always realign no matter what. But that does put her in some risk because, as I mentioned, she is coming out of 14 frames instead of 12, and she can get jabbed out of that. She can get hit out of it. So it's more of a timing-based interaction, I would say.
Right.
Which determines the output of you being able to step it or not.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying about how it can be or can't be stepped. My question was, does it happen to you a lot that they do sidestep it?
Depends on the player that I play. So, for example, one of my trading partners from my local scene, he's actually goes by the name of Commander, very, very, very well known Oscar player. He whiff punishes and steps my elbows a lot. Like he has my timing down very, very well. He knows when I like to go in. So based on those interactions, he can consistently sidestep my elbow very, very well. Whereas like other players, who don't have a very, very good sidestep, for example, let's say you have like a Marduk player, for example. So characters like Marduk, they have a very, very hard time stepping it. So for the most part, I would say it's very, very matchup dependent, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Like, I heard you earlier where you were saying how timing dependent it was, but I myself am really just getting the concept of timing to really sink into myself. And I wonder how easy it is for people at your level to catch on to those timings. Because, you say, well, if they catch on to your timings, they can step it. But my question is like, do you see people adapting to that timing well? And you answered the question.
Yeah.
That it does with some people, and that it's also matchup dependent. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So I noticed that you said you played Dragunov. You said you played Geese. I know you had an Armor King that you mess around with, Julia. And you said that you are still looking for a character? Did you just say?
No, it's rather during that time I was looking for a character to main, basically.
Right. Okay.
But when it comes to like competitive characters, I would say for now my main go-to is obviously Julia, my secondary being my go-to Marduk. And recently I've been baffling between Armor King and Dragon. I'm not sure which one I would like to have as my third. But in general, I play a very, very long list of characters. I like to train with all these characters just to get a better understanding of how they're played. That way, when I face those characters in turn, I can get a better understanding of the way my opponent can be thinking. Right? I can understand. I'm like, okay, what is their goal? How can they get around their key moves? And what essentially their strengths and weaknesses are for the most part. this is kind of why my most efficient way of learning how to deal with those things is, for the most part, just picking up the character.
Yeah, I have a training partner of mine who we play so many games together. They play Leo and I play Yoshi, right? We play so many games together that I know I understand Leo's game plan really well now. And like I can give suggestions to them and be like, "Hey, this move has a lot of pushback. You should backdash after it more." Or this looks like it has horrible tracking to this side. So maybe thinking about delaying it some more or something like that. And I don't play the character, but I know that's basically the types of insights that you get when you play the character. It's like with Yoshi, where it's like, if I know how many times this move has been stepped, then I can impart that to other people that, yeah, this move is really weak to that side. So if you're trying to mitigate that move, you can step that move by going left. So it makes sense that you would play the character to find those weaknesses. When you do that, do you try to do that mostly in the lab, or do you just go like straight into playtesting a lot and going like, for example, when you're playing Zafina, you were you just like, all right, I'm just gonna grind this in ranked and go trial and error on strategy after strategy?
So I would say for the most part, it's a factor of three things. One, it would be my experience against that character. I'm like, okay, this is the moves that when I play this character, it gives you the most trouble. Let me see, how to properly use those moves to, when it comes to me actually playing those characters. Two would be, I watch high level gameplay of that character and see what moves are most effective and where they're properly placed, just to get a better understanding of how their neutral, is more effective. For example, Asuka, she's more of the defensive type. She has excellent whip punishment. Whereas a character like, Lydia or even Julia, they're more shine on the more aggressive side, so they can be more on the offensive type of plays. So I try to get an idea of how this, the play style for each character fits, and try to explore my own kind of taste with those characters as well. And afterwards, I'll go to practice mode, try to understand their key moves, and try to afterwards just go to rank instantly and just trial and error at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you have been doing very well recently in a lot of brackets. In fact, I believe you've got yourself a win in Iron Main tournament recently,
Yes,
a top
yes.
1 finish.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a top 2 finish. I can't remember. I think it was Flytech, right?
It was Flytech, yes.
Last week versus Hayes. And that was a 6 set to watch. Everything has been going in an upward style for you, I feel. But I didn't really have your name on a list of notable players for since maybe a couple of years ago. Can you tell me about what got you into competitive Tekken, and maybe what helped you break out into having a more successful atmosphere, or a successful record, I guess I should say?
So back then, I used to be very into esports. I used to love watching CS:GO esports. I used to always watch all the majors, all the regionals as well. I used to, love watching the game in general. It's also something I also tried to do back then, before I ended up picking up Tekken 7, is to go pro in that game. But sadly, the opportunity wasn't there for me. I couldn't really have much resources to go off of because, as you know, I was in the Middle East at that time, and we didn't have much to go off of. But I used to, like I said earlier, I used to be a long-time Tekken fan. I used to play since Tekken 5 actually on the PS2. That was like my go-to game basically. Like every Thursday, I'll go to my grandmother's house. We would go up to my uncle's room. And we'd actually I'll be like, okay, yo, where's Tekken? Hey, you run them heads. We would always just go in there and just have like the Infinite Azure. Back then it was like I forgot what the stage was called, but it was like Japachi's like last stage in Tekken 5.
Mm.
But we used to always go on that stage. We used to always just brawl it out. We used to always do like the craziest things. We always just spam unblockables, go for the Paul Death Fist all the time. Like we didn't know what we were doing. We were just pressing buttons, but we were having a good time.
Right.
So as a longtime Tekken fan, I actually stumbled upon a tournament called E-League, right? And E-League was like my favorite tournament for CS:GO because the production was just insane, and I loved the energy that tournament gave. And I saw that they hosted one for Tekken. I was like, oh, okay, a Tekken tournament. Let's see what's up with this. And that was my first introduction to actual like Tekken 7 tournaments. It was actually the E-League Team Takedown, the one that Cuddle Core Jimmy J Tran won. That was like my first time like watching competitive play, and then seeing Shadow like be the underdog of like what people did not expect him to have that breakout performance was like my eye opener to like. Yeah,
I
like,
remember that. That was such a cool event. Yeah,
that was so sick, and that was like my eye opener event to what competitive Tekken looks like. And I was like, okay, this is sick. I want to be a part of this. So slowly but surely, I started like learning the game a little bit more with time. And afterwards, I'm like, okay, I need to get better at this game. I want to be on the stage because my biggest issue with CS:GO back then is that I had the skill. I mean, I'm not saying I was like the best or anything, but like I had like decent or decent enough skill to to do a little bit well in the competitive scene. It's just having a team-based game can be very, very stressful because you can be doing well, but your teammates may not be doing well. You could be having a bad day, but your teammates are doing really well. So like one thing could like hinder the whole team performance overall. But in Tekken, the whole thing is basically on you. Like you are your own person. You are your own strengths. You have your own weaknesses. Like it's an individual one-on-one based game. So that was something I definitely loved about as an aspect about, and it definitely made me want to play the game a lot more competitively. So the moment I ended up moving to the States for university reasons, I started playing a few tournaments here and there. The first ever local I actually joined was actually a very, very, very old tournament series that goes by the name of Kick Punch Shoot 'em Up.
Oh yeah,
used to be hosted by Horns' Bad GG. He used to be the go-to for every like Friday, Thursday, Saturdays rather. He used to hold these weeklies all the time back then, and that was like my go-to like practice source and my go-to eye opener for the series as well. So I used to practice Tekken like before I moved like every day. I wanted to see how I would do it, in like competitive state. And all I had back then was online. I still do right now, sadly. Like all I have is online. I try to go to offline whenever I can, but it is obviously hard, financially and whatnot. But so I try to go out whatever I can for the most part. But that was kind of like the start of my competitive journey, rather. My own like personal experiences, and I just kept competing in that week after week after week. And slowly started building my skill from there. Slowly building, how to play in like a tournament status and whatnot. Like even if you go to my challenge, actually, that was before Smash GG was like a thing. Like challenge was the go-to thing, and you can see me playing as far as all the way back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like my go-to start career, I'd say.
Well, it seems like first of all, I love that journey. E-League was so cool.
Yeah.
When I remember watching, I think Anakin had a team, right? As well. I think it was either Anakin had the team or Cody had the team. Well, either way, I think Cody was on the team.
Yeah, Cody was on the team, yes.
Right. And I was like, oh man, this is sick. Offline events are so great. It's so interesting how people can put their necks out there for being able to play, like get a venue, get stream possibilities set up, and all those high levels of production, and do all this for some video games that Tekken isn't even one of those really high watched games. CS:GO obviously is huge, and same thing with League. When you were talking about CS:GO and how it can be difficult in a team environment, you're not the first person to tell me that, actually.
Really?
I had a lot of people tell me like they've been really they used to play League competitively, and like I think Emily said they used to play League competitively, and Fee was playing League a lot, and Prophet Noda played slash plays League, and like there's so many people that have come from the competitive League environment, or you say CS:GO and those team environments, and a lot of them just say, yeah, it can just be so frustrating with the team aspect. You never have control over your victories, and I think we all want to be in control of our own victories. That's why when people are so results minded, they have that stigma where if they lose, that means that they're going to get into a depressed mood, and if they win, it's expected that people expect themselves to win and expect to be consistent, and it's so hard for people to do that. We can't all be obscure winning every single monthly for an entire year. Obscure out there. We will get him. We will get him soon.
One day.
We got a killer coming in from South Florida. It's pretty soon, I think, that is gonna give him a run for his money pretty dang soon. So you mentioned your run up to the current environment, that you had so much online tournament success, or not necessarily success, but experience. Do you feel like there's any one person that maybe has helped you out in your journey, say maybe more than others, like a training partner or a coach or a mentor that you might want to shout out?
So I've been here, in and out for a lot of coaches as well. So I kind of want to just thank the community as a whole, really, because I've asked so many people who are helping. A lot of people have been so helpful. So it's kind of if I had to list them, it would be too long of a list, really.
That's fair.
So I would rather just say I'd like to thank the NA scene as a whole, just for being so intertwined and being so willing to help so many people as well.
Yes. It seems like almost everybody that I talk to is like, bro, if you ever want to sit down, people in this scene just want to help other people. They want people to learn how their character works, or they want people to get the secret that they figured out, and that they want to tell people because they got that little epiphany that they figured out. So I'm gonna ask you, is there some plateau that you were able to get over, that it was as simple as a switch that flipped in you and you went, oh my gosh, this is it, this is what I need to be doing? Or not to say that you flipped the switch and automatically you started making top 8s or something like that, but sometimes people don't realize that they've been making mistakes, or that they've been missing something, and then just out of nowhere it's like, bam, this was so huge for my understanding, this was so huge for my learning and my growth. Did you ever have anything like that in particular that stands out as something that really was a catalyst for major growth for you?
Yeah, I would say is to stop worshiping top players and more rather try to understand the game's mechanics, and that even the top player has to guess in a lot of things that Tekken has to offer. So it's more so instead of being too scared to fight a top player and expecting too much of them, try to be your best. They still gotta guess between your own neutral tools versus their own neutral tools. And the only way to be able to beat someone at the top is to actually be able to fight. You know what I mean? I'm not saying as like a physical fight. I'm saying some people, they get so nervous when they fight a very, very good player, that they they do the smallest things due to they're too nervous, they're afraid of getting low parry to a big combo. They're saying, oh, this person's definitely gonna break this throw, this person's definitely gonna break that. But at the same time, you gotta at one point it clicked to me. I'm like, wait, I'm not even giving this person a fight. I'm letting them do whatever they want the entire time. You need to be able to overcome that mindset and realize the only way to actually take a step forward into becoming a successful competitive player is to be able to not be scared of going in on someone and just try to play the game normally as you know normally would. Like don't try to like overthink the way you should be thinking in Tekken. Like you're still playing another person. You're not playing, this automatic robot from like, say it's like a boss level mode character where they're gonna low parry everything you do. They're gonna brick every throw you do. Like you need to just play your game. You're still playing another person. Play to their own weaknesses, and then try to get around their own strengths at the same time as well. I would say.
That's really good advice, because sometimes we can even give robot-like qualities to people. We would tell people that JDCR and Jimmy J Tran, for a while it was a meme and commentary that they're robots. They're just caught on to the timing of everybody else that they can possibly play, and that they just can do no wrong. But you're right, they've got a guess just like we do. It's so interesting to hear that from you, because I hear that from other people too. Like Dude with Hoodie the other day, he was like, I feel like when I'm in my head, in my right space, I could do anything, that I can beat anybody in the right mindset, in the right thought process. And hearing from you, you're like, well, the right thought process is to just trust yourself, basically, is what I'm hearing you say. Yeah
basically, yeah. I mean, like the biggest example of that would be Kaiser. Like Kaiser is like the most confident Chloe player you'll ever see play, and like what they're doing is like they're doing basically their neutral. It's like, okay, I have a Yeet Sweep, I have a running 3. I'm going to force you to guess between these two, and you are going to be forced to guess. He goes in with confidence no matter what, and that makes him one of the scariest people to fight in tournament no matter what. Like he has proven that with confidence you can go a long way just with that single factor alone.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's definitely something that a lot of
we
people.
We saw the Kaiser Geyser, the Pakistani Punisher, heard around the world,
especially when he played
against Farzin, right? And you just described his playstyle to a T. Commitment. Commitment. He goes, I am going to do this move and I'm going to commit, and that's very, very poignant. It's extremely on point to what he does, and I feel like what a lot of people need to do in order to succeed. I was talking about this with somebody else earlier, just like, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, just fuzzy, like go and when you come up to somebody, like fuzzy parry and do this and stuff like that. And it's like, yes, sometimes those are really good options, but if you're fuzzying because you don't have any idea of the timing and you're just kind of just trying to do something that you just throw it out there, then you're not really doing you're I remember you and I had a session, and we only had a couple of sessions, I think, and one of the things that you told me was, it doesn't seem like I'm using my moves with purpose. Like you were telling me about, I'm Zafina, I'm gonna do this to keep you out, I'm gonna do this once you're in, and that really sunk into me. I went so far just with that knowledge, and it's not just it's not just buttons either, right? It's like choosing when to hard duck and commit. It's choosing to pay attention to the timings, like those fuzzy things. And sorry, I'm doing stream of consciousness learning as I'm talking right now. This is something that I do sometimes, where I get to talk to you guys and you guys inspire me. Where like, if I think that if I'm fuzzying, I'm thinking this is the timing that it's gonna happen on, and I should be able to commit to that, and not like, if the fuzzy worked, great, and if not, I should keep going and keep committing on something else. Where, like, just like you were saying, like, if you commit, if you have confidence in that what you're going to do is going to work, then it will be, I'm not saying that it'll automatically make it work, but that commitment will make it stick, in the sense that, like, you can say you made that decision, and if that decision was wrong, okay, no big deal, but you thought about that decision and you made it, and you can go back and look at your decision making. Whereas, like you were saying before, when I would just kind of use buttons in places where they weren't necessarily the best places to use them, it was like, I'm just pressing, I'm just I'm hitting a button and I'm making bad decision making choices without doing things. Sorry, it just took me back
Yeah, you're
to
fine.
that. And just like Ling Massacre, Doc made a message recently and was like, yeah, if you want to block a low, you should block that low. You should really commit to that block. And same thing with Kaiser and his running threes and running yeet sweeps. Just like, I am going and you are gonna have to deal with it. And I love the way that he plays that. I know we're talking to you right now, but we're yes, that's super pointed on point. Since we're talking about some other players right now, I want to know who your bracket demons are. I've got one myself, Just a Spirit. Still haven't beaten him in bracket. First to two, I get pretty close, and I feel like I close in every single time we play. I get closer and closer and closer, but I haven't done it yet. But for you, you've done a lot of damage in the online scene and in the offline scene recently. I think you had a top 8 spot in Winter Brawl. Am I right?
It was actually at NEC when I got third place.
NEC. Yeah. Wow. Yes. Big spot right there, because there were a lot of big people there. So are there any bracket demons that you have that you look at them, like you look at the bracket and you're like, ooh, that one, it plagues me. It's like the Grinch in the Who's or something like that.
Yeah. So, for definitely Ty from my own local scene, he has been beating my ass for the past, like, I would say 2 years.
Oh wow.
Like, I don't know why. It's like, the more I get better at this game, like, for some reason, his just dominance, like, and the way he's so aggressive, but he places the right buttons so well. Like, they've been, like, consistently, like, dominant over me in brackets. I only ever got the win on him one time, and that was actually during NEC as well. But according to him, he was having a bad day. But I'll take the win. I don't
take
mind.
Those.
We take those. We take those. But either way, it's like he has been very, very dominant against me in brackets. I was like, I always had like a hard time against him, but at the same time, like, he feels like a final boss challenge that I always want to rematch, just to, you know. It's like one of the, it's like one of those, like, it's like one of those. Yeah, I can definitely get the better of you, and I definitely would like to try again to try to prove myself that I can get the better of you.
Yeah, it's like you're playing Tekken 5 DR, and you're like, well, I'm gonna figure this AI out, bro.
That's
you put another coin in there, and you're like, rematch. But it's like that with a person. You want to figure out their timings. You want to figure out how their AI works, or except it's not artificial intelligence; it's real intelligence.
So yeah, Ty is definitely up there for me. Joe Crush, I've never beat him in tournament yet, but at the same time, like, our games are always so weird. Like, we're not like when I play him, it's like I feel like I'm playing a very, very weird timing based game instead of a I'm just getting fucked up kind of game for the most part. Like, he's always constantly like his timing is very, very on point for the most part, and he, like, presses the right button at the right time every single time. I don't know how he does it, but he is so good at that. And I've yet to, like, try to. I've yet to actually beat him in tournament right now. But he's definitely on my hit list for sure, I would say.
Yeah. Have you guys done the Julia mirror match? I feel like he doesn't usually. I see you guys play each other in tournament every once in a while, and I always expect the Julia mirror match, but I don't think we usually get it. Do you guys, like, talk to each other about, like, liking the mirror or not liking the mirror, or what's your thought process when you go into a match versus Joe and you make a character choice?
So for the most part, I'm always anticipating the Geese, because Geese is actually a counter pick to Julia, I would say, because he has that very, very strong mid parry to always work around, and then most of my neutral tools are mids. So trying to play an unorthodox kind of style against Geese with Julia can be very, very hectic and can be very, very annoying. We rarely talk about the Julia Emmy specific things. I actually rarely talk to him in general. I just, like, met him at Calmbreaker the other day, actually, for the first time. But I look at his stream sometimes, but, you know, I do talk to him in chat and, you know, try and give him some Julia tips. You know, here and there, I'm like, yeah, you should probably do this in this matchup instead. maybe I feel this about this certain matchup, but we haven't really talked too much outside of those small interactions, I would say.
Mhm.
It's definitely something we should definitely talk to more because, as you know, Julie is a very, very rare character to see in tournament. And, you know, I feel like I should definitely link up with more Julie players that are constantly performing with her in tournaments, for sure. It's just, you know, we're a very, very small pack, and I can barely, you know, find someone to talk to about the character as well. So.
I was like, you never like, you're saying they're rare, and I'm like, but you and Joe are entering tournaments all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
So in my head, I'm like, they're not rare. What are you talking about? And then I'm like, you know, other than you guys, I guess.
Yeah, it's like
that with a lot of characters, right? There's 52 characters in the game. You can't see. I mean, even Kunimitsu, there's technically a relatively small amount of people that are playing Kunimitsu. You got Dragon Slayer and Fab Will, I guess, is playing her, though they're not really entering.
Azure, we have Fab Will.
Azure.
We have what's his name? Peeling as well. Also has a Kuni, I believe.
Is Peeling claim? Get out of here.
I'm
no.
I'm not sure. Yeah, a lot of people play Kuni these days, and it's like this character has traumatized me for 2 reasons. Because in the Anakin Invitational, they put me up against Fab very, very first game, and Fab went Kuni, and I'm like, oh my god, please. This character has given me so much issues. And the next time I lost to a Kuni, it was against Azure in ICFC, where a PS5 was under the line. So I've pretty much lost potential $10,000 in the prize pot and a PS5 to this character. So when she says that she's a thief, I believe it.
That's for real. Just she stole my sword, bro.
She literally stole your sword. So it's like,
bro.
Bruh.
People ask me why I hate this character. I'm like, bro, she literally took the one thing that my character is known for. And I mean, no, it's not the only thing my character is known for, but like, you took the most important part of it. You might as well take my man's arm.
Yeah. It's like, man, my man stole my look. God damn it.
For sure. Stole my drip. We got to make her drip. Blood, that is.
Yeah, for the most part, I would say, yeah. But I would say, outside like Ty and Joe Crush, I would say not really anything else really. Shadow, like recently, I've gotten the upper hand up against. Obviously, Shadow's definitely like I'm not like it's obvious he's like one of the best players in the country. But I feel like I have a better chance at beating him recently as of now compared to like before. Before he was super dominant, but now I feel like I at least give him more of a fight at least.
Yeah,
he's
Shadow's,
definitely been.
I feel like every time I've asked this question, Shadow's name has come up. He's just so. When we talk about timing, you're talking about how Joe always seems to have that really perfect timing. I feel like Shadow is on the other spectrum where Joe seems to like using smaller timings in the middle of his attacks and stuff, whereas Shadow, he lives in that last 20 seconds of the round. Like we call it Shadow time, you know. It's like
very, very accurate, actually.
It really, like, he is totally fine with spending the whole game just chilling, whereas with Joe, it feels like when I watch him that he can be so aggressive. And aggressive doesn't mean always mashing on immediate timing and things like that. You can still be aggressive and not have predictable timings as we can see by like Joe and Fusion and Kaiser. Even I would consider Kaiser an aggressive player sometimes.
Yeah, easily.
Like I was playing him in casuals and Combo Breaker, and I was like, oh my god, can I do something? Like,
were you talking about? I remember seeing you there. Were you there?
I was sorry, not Combo Breaker, excuse me.
Yeah, I would say
it's a showdown. I was unfortunately unable to make it to Combo Breaker because my wife got sick.
Oh right beforehand. I hope she's fine now though.
Well, she's almost testing negative. It's close now, but it's been almost a week and a half now since Combo Breaker. So like, you know, we're glad that I didn't end up going and getting an entire arena full of people COVID. Although I haven't been testing positive either. But neither here nor there right now. We talked about some players that you are feeling that were your tournament demons slash they give you some trouble in bracket. What about some players that maybe aren't as well known and could you look at them and go, man, this guy, he's so good, but people don't even talk about this guy. He's underrated. He's downplayed. Or excuse me, I don't mean to use pronouns. They are underrated. They're downplayed. For example, Pit Viper. Good lord, such a good Lucky Chloe player.
Oh yeah, she's very
right. We want to talk about aggressive. Good lord. But do you have any characters or players that you feel are underrated in the North America scene?
Oh, definitely, yeah. They're actually two of my trading partners. Actually, I feel like the Booster Blast, who recently got a top 8 at ICFC as well.
Oh yeah,
I feel like they have a lot of they have a lot to show, and they've actually been in shadow quite a few times in the brackets before as well. But not many people know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have they have the potential to be arguably one of the best in the country. It's just that they they have their own life circumstances. They have their own things. They're not as active in the communities. But he's definitely a very, very, very strong player. He's one of my go-to training partners as well. And he's definitely one of the best armor kings the best armor kings I've actually ever played. Actually, had the honor of playing rather. Next one is Bibayas. Very, very well known Oscar player from the Dominican Republic, but he is definitely one of the most solid we have in NA. Most people when they think of Osaka, they go to Commander as well. Understandably so. He's been around for the longest time. But once people look at what Bibayas can do, oh my god, he is so optimized with the Oscar character. He is a true Oscar specialist, I would say. And although he didn't have too many breakout performances, for example, in the ICFC and whatnot, I still feel like he definitely has a lot to show for people in the world. He's definitely one of the most threatening players as well, easily.
Yeah. I mean, he's known for really grinding out that counter hit into crouch cancel down forward 2.
Oh yeah.
Right. So even online, he's known for grinding that out, and I love that he gets the opportunity to play in our brackets. TWT Dojo is coming around again. And I really want to continue having Bibayas to be a part of our tournaments, coming from the DR. It's all I think they're not in the region though, and I do want people to look at our brackets as useful in multiple ways. One of which being, you can get dojo points. So it's gonna suck to not necessarily be able to have them in brackets again. But for example, back when I wasn't even hosting tournaments, I was like, hey, I gotta have Bibayas play in some exhibitions, and I had them play against first to 10 versus obscure and stuff. He did really well, and so I totally agree with you. It's so interesting that you said Bibayas, because I felt like you were gonna say that when I asked you the question, and really hope that Bibayas keeps showing up to brackets and keeps grinding, especially when dojo events are coming, and at least they have a dojo area that Dominican Republic can be in right now. For TWT.
Yeah, the issue with that is that sadly, even though main Bibayas connection is it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It would be a 5 to a 4 bar sometimes. But the issue with in those regions, the connections aren't the most stable. So in some regions it'd be really, really, really good to NA connections, but then the others it would just not be as good.
Mm-hmm.
So which is why I can understand why TWT did not want to include them in the NA regions, just have their own little region at the to themselves. But it's still very, very unfortunate, because I feel like Bibayas, he has so much to prove, but unfortunately due to his regional restrictions, It's like a big limiting factor for him to be able to show that he actually is able to compete with the best and be to earn those positions at the top as well. I feel like he has a lot to prove that he definitely will be showing whenever he has a chance for sure.
Most def, and I hope Brian knows that I will support him if he has any desire to play against anybody in a high profile format. My goal is to put the shine on the community, as many people out there. If you're watching this and you say that you want to have if you want to do a first to 10 or something like that with somebody on stream, let me know. I will put together a commentary team, put together production, and we're all about shining on the homies.
For sure.
I think that goes for most of my major questions here. Let's go to some of the quicker and funner ones. Do you have any rituals that you do before you enter tournaments? Do you have like a meal that you eat before, or you have like a yoga that you do, or do you say a prayer or something like that? Maybe you practice your combos particularly.
So I guess it's more of a routine than a ritual, I would say. But it's more so for the most part. One, don't eat a lot before a tournament, because you don't want to go in with like a food coma into a tournament. You'll feel like very, very off point. So try to limit the amount of food you intake before a tournament. And for the most part, I like to blast some calm lo-fi or some calm Kingdom Hearts OST, just to get a more calm and relaxed state. Because I feel like that would help me keep a more straight mind, and just to be more be more prepared for these kind of stressful environments, obviously, because the first twos are very, very stressful to the heart as well, especially when it's very, very close set. Oh my god, the amount of your heart rate will be skyrocket high. So being able to maintain those calm environments as well as those stressful as you're in those stressful situations can go definitely a long way for maintaining your own composure as well. Just for that, also for the most part, I need to warm up before a tournament starts. That is essential. Even just going to things just going to practice mode, just do a combo or two, just to get warmed up, because you don't want to go into a tournament set and just be very, very cold. You want to be especially warmed up before those kind of sets, just to be able to perform at your best for the most part, or at least try to do to your utmost ability.
Yeah, I remember Winter Brawl, you saw Incognito. I mean, technically warming up isn't really the same thing as having your hands warm, but Incog just in the middle of every game, he was was trying to blow his hand,
keep his hands warm,
because his hands were so cold. Good tips right there. Anything else you have to say to the homies about that?
I mean, that'll be it for the most part. Just try to keep a calm mind, because even in actual boxing coaches, for example, they'll tell you to fight with your with more your head, and don't fight with your emotions for the most part, because if you fight with your emotions, it'll make you do some very, very regretful decisions that you wish you had not made. That's definitely the go-to.
All right, last question here for my scripted questions.
Sure.
If you could delete one character from this game, Tekken 7, currently, which character would it be and why?
Kunimitsu. The reason why is because although she's so sick, her voice actor is goated. She's actually one of my favorite voice actors in anime in general, and her design is so cool. I hate that they gave her very, very absurd and broken movement to the point where it just ruins the whole game's experience for me. I would before, I would say Akuma easily, because Akuma is having a launching jab with Nita is I'm what the hell is this? But as of right now, Akuni is on the easier side of the characters, and a lot of people are picking her up, and I'm having a very, very hard time dealing with her for the most part. I feel like they should just take the character away, redesign her into something more suitable, something more, something more appropriate, and I'll definitely be more happy with that character because I was actually very very excited for that character when she first came out. But sadly, the DLC power creep came in, and unfortunately, they made her too powered, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
they gave her obvious weaknesses with her lows not being as strong, but her movement, man, and her throws, like, they make it very very hard to react to, and that movement just lets her escape so much, so easily, and it doesn't seem like I'm fighting a fair fight because it's like, imagine you're playing like a 2D fighter, but for some reason the character you're up against can like step in like a 3D environment. Like that's kind of how it feels with the current competitive state of Tekken 7. They nerfed movement so much, yet they give these new characters such good movement. It feels like I'm playing a 2D fighter in a 3D game. They can step, but I can't.
Yeah, I agree with you about her throws. I've been saying for the longest time, like, she's got like the tiniest body, and her arms are like not very emotive. They don't really stick out very much. So I think it's really hard to see what grabs, especially out of the set stance. Like, I don't know why, especially out of set stance for me, it feels that way. But it's like all of the dazzling dash effect and stuff like that. It sure doesn't help make it easier to see those grabs, and they do a lot. You know, you get when you get the set one grab and you get bounced down, and then there's good kunai oki or something like that afterwards. Yeah, it's really difficult, especially in the situation that you were talking about, how mobile the character is. I remember the first thing when people like hacked the game and were able to get Kuni early, and they were like, guys, look at this backdash. No, I'm not hacking. And we were like, what? Like, it was crazy. Like, and they never really did anything about it. No. They just kept it. Like, people complained about Fulcrum ROM having glitchy things, and they worked on that. And, you know, but Kunimitsu is just another animal that they've decided is just fine, I feel like. But, you know, I agree. I think she's such a sick character in her aesthetics. I think that she's got like the fire and ice thing that she has. I think that's cool, especially with the hit effects. I wish that it like meant something more, like that, like with Noctis, where he has his fire grab and he has his ice grab and his thunder grab, and they're very loud. And I like subtlety, but for some reason I think this hand has the fire one and this hand has the ice one, and I want that to mean something. I want that to be like, this is the one that has your counter hit properties, and this one has your natural hit properties or something like that. Like, this one has more risk but more reward, and this one, you know what I mean? Like, for some reason I wanted something like that, whereas it seems like it's mostly aesthetic, which is cool and stuff and super anime and kawaii, but like I wanted something that like that personally.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, the whole elemental aspect that she has going on with her swords, I feel like the only use for it, or, you know, rather the only distinguishable animation where I see it like have an effect, is, for example, her little 1/1 string. You know, her little thing where she teleports in the air and she has a little mix up between her overhead or her sword or her other homing sword. Like, the blue versus red sword is the distinguishing factor between one being homing, one being steppable, and that's like my only like animation distinguishing thing between those two things. Otherwise, it's just like, it's kind of just there for aesthetics, and that's it.
Yeah, and honestly, it helps me. I'm like, I look for the third one. I was like, was that blue? All right, I can't punish it. Like,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Or if it was blue, I can punish it, and if it wasn't blue, then I can punish it. And the good thing is that even my colorblind ass can see whether it's blue or red. So I like that, or orange, or, you know, whatever color fire is.
Yeah.
Right.
Thankfully, yeah. But like, when it comes to, you know, going back to her actual like throw issue, it's because for her set throw, the you know, normally the distinguishing factors for throws in this game would be the actual hands, right? For the most part, excluding stuff with like Giant Swing, where Giant Swing would come out faster and like a more unique animation versus a normal Shining Wizard. Like that would be your tell, but for the most part, for Kuni, her only distinguishing factor between a 1+2 throw and a set 1 throw would be her leg going up or not.
Yeah.
But they both have a similar 1+2 animation grab, basically. And like that's something that's not very common among Tekken cast, and it's like it can be, it makes you look out for more than you normally would, which can be more stressful, playing defensively against compared to other characters. Which gives her a huge competitive advantage, I would say.
Yeah, especially since, like, when I see a set, like when I see the command dash come out, I'm like, I'm worried about that low. I shouldn't be worried about that low because, it doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't put her at anything more than like neutral on hit for the most part when you get hit in the quicker frames of it, the sooner frames of it. But like, I'm not looking at it and going, oh, I'm really worried about a grab. I'm really worried about that low for some reason. And there are so many things to worry about out there. You should be worried about set 2. You should be worried about the low. You should be worried about the grabs. You should be worried about set 4 even, because that's a thing that happens as well. You can get hit by that and get into a back turn mix.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she has the full screen kunai as well, which you can just throw at any point, and she could be more safe the further away she is as well.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like why must I hold all of this?
Right. There's no relaxing against the character.
Oh no, not at all.
Like I play Yoshimitsu, who I'm like, all right, meditation stance. I got this to heal. Like usually I have the ability to kind of chill out and ice my opponent / cause them to come in and approach, but Kuni's just like
as well, yeah. But like, Kuni's like
immediately
I can just come into your face and like all right, give me half a second, I'll be there.
Right. Not even, right? Because you can't react to that kunai.
Oh no, you can't. No.
If I'm in meditation stance, like you can, from meditation stance, you can turn around and block really quickly. But if the animation has started up and you haven't reacted already, like as soon as the kunai leaves her hand, it's across the screen already, and you're out. Yeah. So she like totally shuts down any possibility of relaxing, I feel like. Yeah. And she's so stressful so many times.
It's like a joke I make with my friends where it's like, damn, we died for breathing. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's literally how it feels. It's okay. I just moved a little bit, and all right, I just got kunai. It's like, oh well, I guess I'll die.
Yeah, and there's literally at long range, there's literally no risk to it at all.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Well, that leads up to our sundown here in the Foxhound interview with yoj99. Do you have any questions for me, Yoj? This isn't something that I'm doing at all at the end of the interviews, but sometimes I feel like I'm in the mood to just take it a little bit more and want to put it on you guys.
Sure. So I guess rather now that the Tekken Wars are coming up actually. So what are your plans for Flytech? Do you plan on expanding even further? Do you plan on maybe merging with Justice Spirit? Maybe for some more I don't know, some more exclusive events you guys might be planning? Like, what are y'all cooking in the background there?
Oh well, I would love to tell you what kind of secret ingredients is in the Krabby Patty, my man, but let me just tell you that Flytech is only the beginning, and we are definitely going to take this straight over the stratosphere, and I'm not going to be stopping doing events, certainly not, and I'm certainly going to be putting out some high quality content, perhaps in collaboration with other people. Technically I already collaborate with Spirit Realm. Like so the way that Spirit Realm and Flytech came about, Chicago Tekken originally needed somebody, Fighting Gameworks needed somebody to run Chicago Tekken one night, and like Tom was sick and he's like, I can't run stream. So I was like, well, I can run stream because I was supposed to do commentary that night.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm so sick, I can't do it. And I was like, well, I guess I can do it, because he was like, well, unless you want to do it, I can't really run it. So I was like, I guess I can do it. And I had some resources and brackets from when I did the Lily only tournament and the Yoshi only tournament that I had held not too long ago, before that. And I was like, well, I guess I can run this bracket. And I was like, well, cool. And then not too long after that, Tom hit me up and was like, hey, Fighting Gameworks might need somebody else to run their brackets because I'm thinking of stepping down. You know, he was he just recently announced that his wife is pregnant, which I'm so that was really, I think he announced it in Frosty Fausting. So actually, come to think of it, he's probably pretty close to being a dad now. That's pretty awesome. He might,
no, it's
by
really
the time
awesome,
this video comes out,
like,
in
6
its
months from now?
totality,
Yeah.
he might even have it all of a sudden. And so when he said that, I was like, all right, well, I guess we're making Flytech, because Flytech was already something that I had talked about all the time. It was a meme for me in commentary, because Spirit and I, Florida commentators, would always be commentating on Chicago Tekken, and then we would have so many Florida people enter Chicago Tekken, and we'd be like, oh, this is Florida Tekken, this is Flytech right here. You call it Shy Tech, I think it's more like Flytech. So I started producing the assets for Flytech and getting ready for Fighting Gameworks to contact me about following up on Tom not running Chicago Tekken anymore, but unfortunately Fighting Gameworks was unable to keep going. And so I just had all of these assets that were just kind of sitting there, and I didn't have anything to do with them. And then people were like, hey, I need production, or I need tournaments. People were like, oh my gosh, there's no tournaments happening. I need tournaments, I need events, I need something, I'm going crazy. And so both Spirit and I at the same time both were like, well, I think I'm gonna do a tournament. And he was like, yeah, me too. And we were like, cool, so you're gonna do your tournament and I'm gonna do my tournament. You know what would be a good idea? If we just like switched off. You have your tournament Tuesday night and I have my tournament the next Tuesday night. And that way we're not each having to run a tournament every single week, and we can prevent burnout. And we were like, oh man, we're geniuses. We are so smart, right? And I still believe that. But a lot of people have been like, why don't you guys just like doing your events together? And a lot of people don't understand that we are doing our events together, in the sense that he TOs for me sometimes, I TO for him sometimes, he commentates sometimes, I commentate sometimes, and we help each other out. But they're not the same event in technically, but in almost everything else, it does what you guys as the community needs, which is it gives you a Tuesday night bracket at 8 o'clock Eastern time every single week. It is consistent. Now, have we talked about doing something that maybe makes it a little bit easier, like combining the two tournaments into one tournament? We talked about that at some point, and I'm not sure what's going to be happening as we get closer to TWT, but I will tell you that we are certainly going to be making sure that there is a community-based tournament come TWT time, and we want to make sure that all of our players and audience members really support us when we make those big pushes to get those big numbers for the points, because I know a lot of people are driven by those point systems, and it can't just be one big event that happens every week that has those big numbers, right? We're already getting things like consistently 40 to 50 Flytech members every other week. And for Spirit Realm, and last week for Spirit Realm, we had 70 people. I think that was mostly because people are super hype off of Combo Breaker and all of that. People are just super in it and really in the mindset of playing Tekken, and super hyped up about it. But for the most part, like, we have the ability to keep growing as long as you people, and when I say you people, I mean you, Yoj, where you, the competitors and the participants, just keep participating and keep telling your friends, hey, don't forget, guys, Flytech this week, or don't forget, guys, Spirit Realm. And as long as the community keeps supporting, we can give you guys what you want, which is those big points to get you guys to where you want to get to be professional. And we're going to try to make the best product possible. And I feel like I may have already given way too much away at this point, but you can definitely expect high quality Tekken events and production coming from yours truly right here, and perhaps a collaboration with some other members of the community that you might know.
Yeah, no, I definitely look forward to it, man. Then, oh boy, y'all got some good things going on behind the scenes.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, I'm working 4 days a week, but I'm working 7 days a week. You feel me?
I feel you on that. Yeah.
There's a lot of work happening, and as soon as I have a product to show you guys and or some marketing to push out to you people, I love to show you, but I am tight-lipped, under wraps. All right, we are getting close to that time here where my wife is asking if I can take her to Starbucks. Yoj, you have any final words for us for this interview? You got any final shout-outs or things to tell your audience?
So yeah, recently I've also became a Medify coach as well. So if you guys are looking for coaching, I do recommend not only me but just the platform itself.
Vouch. By the way, I vouch for Yoj's coaching.
Any kind of coaching, just from any of the best players in the world. We even have Arson Ash on Medify. Like we have like a lot of amazing people who are willing to put in the time to help you get better at the game. So if you're constantly looking at these tournaments all the time and you're trying to improve your own gameplay, like it's actually a very, very good source to go to take some footage, then find a coach that's suitable to your needs, to your character as well, and just to be able to analyze your footage and see what went wrong and what went right. And using tournaments like Flytech all the time would give you a weekly practice platform in order to not further improve yourself only as a player but also as a person as well. And this is how I started, and I would like to encourage other people to do the same thing for the most part. But beyond that, I just want to thank you, Foxhound, for putting all these events together. Definitely much appreciated for all the TOs putting in all the hard work for all these tournaments. I've TO'd myself. I've actually run my own tournament a couple of times as well. Mm-hmm. I know how much work goes behind the scenes, and I would like to thank you for doing it on a weekly basis. Especially the Maturino codes. It's like when people don't use the Maturino code, I'm like, dog, all you gotta do is log into Twitter and click a claim code button. How hard could that be?
Bro, what I'm finna do is I'm finna like create some sort of like a QR, like a clickbait, and it's gonna be like some really, really horny posts on Twitter or something, and then it takes you to Twitter. Like that's the only way we're gonna get 50 contribution codes filled out every week, man.
you gotta be like, hey yo, do you want free money? Yes. All right, click on this code, you'll get some free money. Guess what? It's not to you though. It's to the players. But if you want it, go place well in the top 3, and you'll get a portion of it. There you go.
For sure. Yeah,
that's definitely all I gotta say though. But yeah. For the most part, thank you so much for this interview, Boston. I do appreciate you giving a platform to all the competitive players for just for people to get a better idea of those players' backgrounds, where they came from, and how they got to where they are today.
Yeah, a lot of people are unaware of the way that people came about and where their history is. So I love being able to hear from you guys, and just from a commentator's perspective, I love having that information. It makes my commentary so much more meaningful as well, and I really hope that you guys take these interviews, as amateur as they are right now, and really cherish the idea of being able to listen in on just the conversation of how great this community is. And like, this is what it's about. Like, honestly, I'm I love having these conversations with my friends. Like, playing the game together is so fun, but what I really love is having the conversations and being able to talk with my friends, going on these food dates together. But we're always talking the game, and we're always talking philosophy, and it's nothing but love. I can't wait to see you guys soon. I know it's hard to make it out to CEO. Don't even tell me that you're not coming. It'll break my heart. Don't even say it.
I was going, but
Don't
I canceled.
Even say it.
I canceled due to financial reasons. I'm sorry. This is what not having a sponsor does to your wallet.
Trust me, I understand.
After Combo Breaker, it's like, yeah, my wallet just went to shambles.
Yeah, that's what happened. Is that everybody was like, I'm gonna go to Combo Breaker, I'm gonna go to Evo, I'm gonna go to CEO, I'm gonna go to the big three, and then people were like, damn, Combo Breaker got hands.
Literally. That's literally what my wallet went through. It's like, I thought I was okay. I'm gonna spend like over $20 here for this food portion of the day. You know, 150 for the hotel, a little bit for the flight. But for some reason, the flight prices when I started booking skyrocketed. So like the flight prices are not consistent at all, and that's like a big factor when it comes to booking for your flights. And it's like, oh my god, please. So, and that's not even like factoring in like Uber prices and like the surges that you get from going from like one place to another.
Don't even talk to me about Uber, bro.
Yeah, so it's like not having a sponsor
or more if their surge prices, forget about it.
So not having a sponsor can like be very rough on your wallet. So I had plans, but luckily sadly I had to cancel, sadly.
Well, we'll be there in spirit, and I will have some gator bites for you. When
I appreciate it.
In the spirit of you, and I hope to be able to make it out to Pennsylvania area soon for Summer Jam.
For sure, man.
Like you said, times are hard for financials, but we're gonna try to make it. Thank you so much one more time for
no problem.
Your time here, for joining us for this interview. I thank you wholeheartedly for giving us an honest view of yourself, and hope that the community sees you as the wholesome, awesome person that you are. And
I appreciate
that's what our interviews are about, is letting people know that you guys are people. You're not just that Julia player that is really nice.
It's funny you mentioned that, because when I met someone at a local, actually, and I told them who I was, they were like, "You exist?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" They said, "I see you in every Twitch chat. I thought you were just a name." I'm like, "No, I'm here."
I thought you lived in the Matrix, dog.
I'm like, what do you mean?
Just lived on the stream and in ranked.
Like, bruh. Yeah, that was like a very, very fun experience, though.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid people not having a face to the name. So now we have a face to the name, yoj99, and you got a voice to the name as well, and you got some backstory. Thank you all for joining us. If you're watching this interview in its totality, I have been Foxhound, brought to you here with Yusuf, aka yoj99 from Pennsylvania and Saudi Arabia. Thank you all for joining us once again, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Take care, guys. Peace.